So today we have President Barack Obama on our show. He is the 44th President of the United States, and he is quite busy this week with his healthcare reform, so I'm very much appreciative that he's taken the time to speak with us today. Please give a well welcoming to President Obama. Thank you so much for speaking with us today. I appreciate it. So it's been just over 1 year since your inauguration. In the beginning, you had a powerful grassroots movement behind you called the Organization for America. It was with nearly 200 million supporters in the organization that won you your historic bid in your election. You were the face of hope and change for so many American citizens and citizens of the world. And you attempted to battle against three of America's greatest juggernauts: the financial crisis, healthcare, and climate change. Yet in 1 year later, some say your presidency has crumbled. You're now the face of disappointment and anger for some. Public confidence to your administration has dropped, and you recently lost your 60-seat supermajority with Massachusetts, a half-century-long Democratic stronghold, to the Republican Scott Brown. So today, I'd like to speak with you about your first year in office, the successes, the failures, and why it's been such a tough year. Now, one of the challenges in your first year, obviously, was the financial crisis, and I'd like to talk to you about that for a minute. You had promised financial stability when you won. But now there are trillions in debt in America, and unemployment rate is skyrocketing to 10%. In a recent poll, it now shows that the majority of Americans believe that you're partly to blame for the economic tough times. 68%, in fact, of the public say that you have been a negative force to the financial market. So what do you think that your role is in this financial downslope?
I think it is important for people to remember that the financial crisis is a problem that I did not cause. This is a problem that I inherited. And I think that the stimulus plan has made it so that we have seen the worst of the storm that has just passed. And I think right now we are trying to get out of the recession that we are currently in. It should take another couple of years, but like I said, the worst has passed. And I think that my administration is doing everything in our power to improve the situation. And people must be patient. This is not something that we can simply get out of overnight. This is the worst economic crisis that we've been in since the Great Depression, and it's going to take several years and much hard work to improve our situation. But I think the people of America, if they remain strong, they remain patient, we can see a mutual beneficial result for all people.
Now, just to be clear, you don't believe that you played any role in the financially economic tough times right now, as it stands now, even though you've set some of the rules in place?
Like I said, the problem is something that I inherited. I've been doing my utmost, and my administration has been doing its utmost to try to improve the situation. Yes, unemployment has been reaching up, but it's nowhere near what it would be at right now if we had not taken any action. I think that if we had not taken action and implemented the stimulus plan, the situation that we'd be in would be far more bad.
What are you going to do about the high unemployment rate right now? It's at a 10% high.
It is extremely high right now. What our administration is planning to do is create more jobs in the field of clean energy. So as we see right now, the automotive sector has taken a particularly large hit. What we'd like to do is remodel the automotive sector, and so that America become a world leader in clean energy technologies.
Okay. All right. Now, obviously, there's been a number of challenges in your first year, and the financial crisis, as we just talked about, was one of them. But there was another one that I think sometimes is not as talked about, and I believe that's expectations. There was a number of expectations put on you. With the Obama mania that in some ways superseded the Kennedy mania in the 1970s, you became this beacon, or rather poster child of hope and change for so many people around the world. People seem to expect everything from you, from resolving conflict in the Middle East, to solving climate change, to solving global economic crisis, as well as the health care, and even solving racial divides in the states, all before the Christmas presents were out last year. Were these inflated expectations partly to blame for the backlash that you faced by the public in this last year?
Well, first of all, this I think backlash is too harsh of a word. This is not something that's uncommon. This happened to President Reagan. It also happened to President Clinton. Many presidents see their approval ratings drop in their first year in office. I think as you mentioned, there are a lot of a lot of difficult situations in the world right now, if you will, and that could also contribute to the reason why people are feeling a little bit disgruntled. Our administration is doing all that they can for the people of America and for the world, and we think that yes, you said that a lot of expectations were placed on me, but I think I placed those expectations on ourselves. Change was the slogan that I campaigned by, and change is what I intend to bring about. I'll be the first to concede that change has not come fast enough, and that is my fault, and I take full responsibility for that. But I still intend to implement change in this country, and if the American people remain patient, change is what they will see.
It's interesting. I was going to ask you about that, actually. I'm quite fascinated that you do admit to that, because you did have a hope campaign, and I'm wondering if this is not now the cost of a hope campaign by having to deflate some of these dreams.
No, not at all. But the realities of being president are a lot more to deal with than just simply being a senator. And with the presidency comes a lot of responsibility, and it takes time to get things done. This is not something that we can simply change overnight. There are a lot of problems in the world, and a lot of problems facing this administration right now. And I think that if the American people remain patient and remain hardworking, and if they do their part, then the change that we all hope to see will come about in due time.
Now, going back on your comment that you thought backlash was too harsh a word, I'm not sure if it is, Mr. President, with all due respect, because actually in recent polls it shows that 2/3 of American people use the word dissatisfied or use the word downright angry at you since running government. They say that they're fed up, that another year passed and nothing much has changed except for stubbornly high unemployment rates, more partisanship, and more big government without transparency, as well as banker bonuses. So with kind of the changing of the public feeling towards you, of hope now to anger, I'm curious, how do you plan to channel to use this anger to your benefit next year?
Well, first of all, I still believe that it is too harsh of a word. As I mentioned, for approval ratings to drop is not uncommon for a president in the first year. But and it is true that my approval rating has dropped significantly within the first year within the United States. But if you look at my approval rating abroad, although they do not count as voters, the approval rating and the overall picture that the world has of the United States has improved tremendously across the world. And I think that this is a great service towards the United States, and this will, in time, the American people will begin to see this, and will begin to see the results of the processes that my administration has begun to implement, and in time, my approval rating will begin to increase again.
Okay, just one last question, Mr. President. If you were to leave any legacy in your first term as president, or any major accomplishment, what would you say that would be?
My legacy is, I believe I would like to live up to my Nobel Peace Prize. I was very appreciative when I received it, but I believe that it was given to me more based on the promise that I have than any accomplishments. And if there's any legacy I would like to live in my first term, it would be that I would like to live up to the honor bestowed upon me, the Nobel Peace Prize that I received.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Thank you.